Hey everybody, I'm Ted from Tebex. In this tutorial we are looking at the RaceTrack plugin for Rust. Recently there has been more information coming out about the Rust Nexus system. The Nexus system will allow server owners to link up multiple Rust servers inside of a Nexus cluster, allowing players to freely travel in-game between those servers. Facepunch has a website where players can ask questions. Someone recently asked a question about the new Nexus system, and Llama Love, who is a programmer for Facepunch and also a admin on the website, replied, and since this is pretty recent news, I thought I add it to the tutorial. He says Nexus doesn't allow players to just travel between any two servers. It only allows players to travel to servers within the same Nexus cluster. You should think of Nexus as a server with a much larger map instead, one with many different islands available for you to play on. You can freely travel, like swimming or flying, between those islands and keep all your blueprints and items. We are not sure what the ins and outs are for the Nexus system, but once it launches, I think server owners will offer more events, races, stuff like that inside of those Nexus clusters, just giving players another thing to do. I have my server running, and inside of Oxide plugins, you can see I have several different plugins, but the RaceTrack is here, the permissions manager is here from CodeFling, and also the Tebex plugin is here, and I already have my server linked up to my web store. If you have not done that yet, there will also be a link in the video description. Let's first of all open up our permissions manager, go to my name, and let's then go inside of the RaceTrack and make sure that we are admin and that we can also play. Pretty self-explanatory, but we can see exactly what we get from those two permissions. Okay, so let's first of all start with creating a track. Let's see where the start is going to be. This is where we're going to start. Let's do /track new. It says you are now creating a new track. We then need to decide if it's a point-to-point race or a laps race. So let's do /track mode. And then we have two options, laps or sprint. So let's do laps. We then need to specify how many laps. So let's say 2 laps. So we then need to add a grid point. And it says a grid point is where the player starts, and it's also where the car will spawn. The position and rotation of the car is determined by the direction you are looking when you place the grid point. The more grid points you add, the more players will be able to join your event. So let's add maybe 3 or 4 grid points for now, just on one line to keep it kind of fair. So I'm going to look as straight as possible as I can. And then I'm going to say track, grid point, add. I'm also going to copy this because I'm going to do it 2 more times. It even displays and shows us what way it's looking. A little bit of an annoying start with the sign here, but I think we can remove this using end kill. So now let's actually add our checkpoints. So we're going to run to the first place so it's clear where they have to go. In the middle, we're going to say track, checkpoint, add. And I'm going to copy this as well. We can set a radius if you want to. Let's leave it default for now. So I'm just going to say add. Oh, we must add 1. Okay, I thought we were able to do it. Let's try 10. And we can see that it's a pretty big circle. So let's go a little bit further. I want to go this way. And hopefully this should be clear. Let's do another one and let's make it a little bit smaller. Let's try 6. Or maybe try half. Let's have a look. That looks decent. It's probably a little bit of trial and error and finding out the proper sizes and the proper radius. You are able to change the checkpoints. So let's run back a little bit and let's show all the checkpoints. So this is checkpoint 1, which is way too big, or probably way too big. The other one was 5. This one is 10. This is checkpoint 1. We want to have that number. So I'm going to say track, checkpoint. I want to change the size of the first checkpoint, which is the one we are in front of, which is too big. And we want to change the new size to 5. So it's the same size as checkpoint number 2. So now it's smaller and they're both the same size. So all I'm going to do is fly around this and just add checkpoints. And then once I'm done, I'll be back. So then here we are back at our start. So I'm going to create another checkpoint just in front of our grid point. Make sure we don't overlap. And then hopefully once we do show all, we should have a nice circle all the way around. Then I'll set the maximum amount of players that can join the event. Since I only added 3 grid points, I'm going to say track players 3. So I'm going to say track, save, and then the name, I'm going to be calling it outpost. So let's test this and let's select our track. So let's do race select outpost. You have set the track to outpost. And now we can actually open up this event. We can do race open, and this will create all those checkpoints. and it will go around. And then once it's done, automatically it will say inside of the chat that people can join doing /race join. I don't know why I went left here. It's not too clear, but yeah. Let's do race join. And it says I have entered. And then let's start the race. Terrible driving here. But it tells us the name. It tells us the laps, how many checkpoints we have to go through. Well, that's a great start. Missed a checkpoint. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, we go here. So that isn't the most clear. I'll quickly finish, well, quickly. I'll finish this race and then let's see what kind of options or analytics we get. Once we finish, we get a nice overview of our distance, time, and it will also show the other people in the race. And then we just get teleported back exactly how we were when we joined the race. Let's edit the outpost race, because one other option we have is the type of vehicle. So it's not just cars. We have a lot of different options. So let's, for example, do horse. So we can do /track, type, and then there are a lot of different options that we can choose from, including boats for in the water, flying minicopters, horses, boogie boards, inner tubes. There are a lot of different things that we can choose from. This example, I'm going to say horse. I'm just going to save it again and override it as outpost. So let's then select the race, select outpost, and then let's open the race so we can join it. Race open, and it will create the checkpoints. And once it's done, it will automatically open up the race. There we go. Race join. Let's go out of no clip. And then let's do race start. We get a countdown. We are on a horse now. I'm on a horse. We have several options. We have reset. So this will reset us to the last checkpoint in case we get stuck. Definitely with something like minicopters, this makes a lot of sense. You can sometimes just get completely messed up. This way, you can always reset to the last checkpoint. And we can also do, I think, leave. Yeah, raise leave. Self-explanatory. We just leave. So let's do track edit outpost. Let's show all the checkpoints. Let's take the one here. This was kind of a bad move going left. So instead of going left, I think we just go straight and then we'll move the other one as well because this was not clear at all. So let's show all the checkpoints, and here checkpoint 10 is terrible. So what we can do is say track, checkpoint, move, and then what number we want to move, and it will then be moved to our new location. So now we have moved checkpoint number 10. And I think that's going to be a lot better. The angle might be a little bit weird coming in here. And I think this checkpoint is a little bit hidden. So this should be checkpoint 11. So let's move checkpoint 11 over a little bit here. Track, checkpoint, move number 11 and move it to here. So that's good. Track, checkpoint, show to show them all. Let's have a look. 10, angle might be a little bit weird. 11. And then I hope, yeah, you should be able to see 12. So let's save, track, save. Let's save as outpost. This one is really weirdly rotated. You don't actually have to move it. You can also just use it to re-rotate it. Something I wanted to point out, you're able to set the breed of the horses. There's a whole system to add modular cars and specifying what modular cars should be used for what race. And some of the checkpoint things that we've done, you're also able to do with the grid points. And there are a lot of track types that I have not shown yet. My favorite being the minicopter. Before we dive into Tebex, let's quickly look at the configuration files. Now, you might be confused because if you go inside of config, there is no RaceTrack. We actually have to go to data, and here we have a RaceTrack folder. We have several different things. For example, going inside of track data, here is our outpost event or outpost race. If you prefer this, you can also just open up this config and make your changes here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say perms for permissions manager, go to groups and go to VIP. Inside of VIP, I'm going to go to RaceTrack and then say play granted. Make sure if it's just the players, do not grant admin. This way, only people in the VIP group can actually join the event. If you need to create a group, you can do oxide.group add VIP. If you're admin in-game, you can just press F1 and run that in here. And then we can find the command to actually add a player to a group. Adding a user to an existing group. Let's copy this command, go into Tebex. So creating a new package, I set a title, description, selected a category and also set a price. Then as a deliverable, I'm going to say game server command, select our server, and then let's actually add our first command. When the package is purchased, what do we want to do? We want to add a player to a group. Instead of admin, we definitely don't want to do that. We want to say VIP or whatever the name of your group is, VIP2, VIP plus, whatever. And instead of wolf, which is a username, we want to use a variable. So let's click on variable on the right. And here we can see ID, and this will get the primary ID from whoever is logged into our web store. So let's copy ID and let's replace the username with the ID variable. We have some more options here on the right. We can say only execute if the player is online, or even execute if the player is offline. I'm going to say even if the player is offline, still add them to the group. That is fine anyway. So then let's click on create. Let's make sure that we are not inside of the VIP group at the moment. What we can do is oxide.show group VIP. So it shows what permission the group has and also what players are inside of the group, and it currently has no players. If we go to payments and create a manual payment, after filling in my Steam ID and selecting my package and also creating the manual payment, we should shortly be added to the VIP group. Okay, the command should now be run. So if we show the same thing, there we go. So now if we run the same command, as you can see, I'm now in the group, added through Tebex. This way you can give players access to those race events only once they claim or purchase a package. Hopefully this was helpful. If anything is unclear, feel free to leave a comment down below. And as always, thank you for watching and good luck with your Tebex store.